Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and statutes which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So, who was Moses talking to in the wilderness about all these curses coming over a nation of people, overtaking them? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. To Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. And it reads, but these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. That's who Moses was talking to. He was talking to the Israelites. So all these curses is going to come on these people. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46. And it says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever. So it's going to be a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever. So it's going to be a sign and a wonder upon thy people. What's a sign? 71st and Jeffery, for an example. How we know we on 71st and Jeffery? Because we look at the sign that says 71st, and then we see the other sign that say Jeffery. How we know we getting on the 14 bus? By looking at the sign. It's going to be the same thing once I start reading these curses. It's going to, when you look upon these people, it's going to be like, man, only these curses fit these people. Let's read one of the first curses. Verse 16. It says, cursed thou shalt be in the city, and cursed thou shalt be in the field. What nation of people are actually cursed in the city? What nation of people is getting gunned down by record numbers? What nation of people are actually being oppressed in the city? You don't see that happening to the white man, or the Bible call him the red man. You don't see that happening to the Asians, the Japanese, the other nations that live in these cities. Wherever you go in the United States, even though we scattered all four corners all over the world, let's just talk about where we live right now. Wherever you go, Detroit, you go to, well, let's talk about some states, California, Florida. It's always going to be a hood of people. New York, you're always going to find a hood of our people. Only our people. You're going to see projects all over the place. Verse 29, and thou shalt grow up at noonday, as a blind groping in darkness. So what happens with our people? We complain all the time about our situations. But the cure and the answer to it is actually in the Bible. But do they teach our people this? No. They teach us prosperity. All you got to do is believe on Jesus. Yes, I do that. I agree with that. Yes, we got to believe on Jesus. But we got to do what he said do. All right, and it says, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Why don't we prosper? Why don't our nation as a people prosper in anything that we do? You may have some that come through. Yeah, I get that, sister. We do what we want to do. I get that. That's actually what I'm getting into. We don't prosper. We can't come together. We can't come together as a nation of people. But other nations do it with no problem. Other nations set things up for their grandkids. That's what we're supposed to be doing. If you have children, you're supposed to be setting up things for your children's children. Inheritance. They're supposed to inherit something. So what do we pass down for our kids? What do we pass down? Do we talk to our children about our ancestors? We don't even really know our ancestors. Do we even research that? Our ancestors is actually in the Bible. And that says, and thou shalt be oppressed and spoiled even more, and no man shall save thee. How is our people oppressed? Just look at your neighborhood. How are people spoiled? Well, let me just get into oppression a little bit. You can be oppressed in many ways. You can be systematically oppressed, and you can be mentally oppressed. Mentally oppressed, it comes depression and all that stuff, because you're tired of your situation. You just don't want to do nothing, and you're just tired. Systematically oppressed is the job system they got on our people. That we only work $15 an hour. That with the other upper jobs that we all is labor and all that stuff. So it's spoiled even more. I always call being spoiled is the food stamp system and the public housing, Section 8. That's being spoiled. Reason why I say that, because there's limitations to that. You can only make a certain amount of money. If you make a certain amount of money, they're going to cut you off. And the thing about it is, you probably still need it. Just because you got an extra check, they cut you off. And the thing about it is, it's like a handout. Because they didn't have that back then. So what did we do? We gathered together as a nation. Our people got together. Let's think about the elders, or even tell you about the movie Claudine. In order to get them food stamps, the man couldn't be in the house. You couldn't have expensive things. I remember they had to hide their iron and stuff. I'm teaching our people our nationality according to the Bible, sister. Your true heritage. Yeah. And it says, and thou shalt be spoiled even more, and no man shall save thee. Let me just go into public housing for an example. I always call public housing, it's like mashed potatoes with black pepper sprinkled on them. Because public housing, or Section 8, you can't take it wherever you want to go. You can take it from, and then you got to transfer it to state. All that stuff you got to go through, that I put our people through. And then the thing about it is, we accept that. We got people lined up for that. We got people, man, I can't take this job because I need this public housing. Or I can't work this many. I deal with that. I personally deal with that, with people where I work at. And it says, no man shall save thee. All these, how can I say this? All these people who rose up, all these people, Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Yes, they did a lot for our people. Black Panther Party, Black Matters, that's what they got now. Then you got these revolutionary people. Don't get me wrong. They trying to do good for the people. But are they going to be able to get through? No. Because the Bible just says it right here. No man shall save thee. Who's going to save us? It's going to be Christ when he comes back. We got to endure this thing to the end. We got to come together, repent as 1/3. It only takes 1/3, rather. 1/3 for us to wake up, repent as Israelites, and we get in the kingdom back. What the kingdom is, rulership. Ask the Moors. They ruled England for over 1,000 years. That's why they call it the Dark Ages. Don't let them tell you no different. Verse 32, it says, thy sons and daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and bear with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. So it's not going to be no might in our hand when we got taken into slavery. It wasn't no might. We couldn't do anything about it. We wasn't that strong. We got broke down to the least common denominator, as I always say. Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment. What's an astonishment? I said this earlier. When you look at our people, when these police officers roll past us, that's an astonishment. Because they looking on our people, doing dirty work, stuff we're not supposed to be doing. That's an astonishment. You don't see that in other neighborhoods. We gotta walk. We actually gotta look over our shoulder every day, all day. And then the saddest thing is, majority of the time, it's our own people. And I'm gonna get into that curse a little bit later. But sons and daughters, that happened in slavery. We forget about that. That's actually, we forget about that. We don't even realize we in modern day slavery. We still the labor force. We just getting paid a little bit more money. The thing is, we're not getting paid equally for our wages. We worth more than $15 an hour. You actually worth more than that. But that's all they want to give you. That's all they're going to give you. Why is that? Because the stupid, ignorant leaders did a march and locked you into a contract. Now you locked into a contract. Now you can't even ask for a raise, because now the state, only thing they can say, this is a labor law. I can't give you no more money. This is all I can give you. Which they know doggone well they can give you more money. You know doggone well $15 an hour is not going to be able to raise a family properly. They already know that. That's what I'm talking about. Then that goes into the crafty counsel I'm going to get into later. But still. And it's a proverb. What's a proverb? You want to have something from a black man, put it in the book. That's a proverb. Mexicans are the best swimmers. They can do anything. That's a proverb. A byword. What's a byword? A byword is basically simple, like what we doing now. Calling ourselves what we not according to the Bible. We're not African American. That's a byword. We're not no doggone Hispanics. That's a byword. We're not no what was going to African American. Let me just bring that out. African American. That means you're from two places at one time. Scipio Africanos is the one who named Africa. America Vespucci, who is the one who named America. You're not at the two white people, or as the Bible called them, the red man. We're not after them. You ask an African where he's from, he's gonna tell you exactly. I'm from Kenya. I'm from Ghana. I'm from Congo. Ask a Chinese man where they from. They'll straight tell you. Ask our people where we from. We like, I don't know. We lost our heritage. Jeremiah 17:4. But let me finish reading this. Verse 43. And the stranger that's within thee, what stranger mean according to the Bible is other nations. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt become down very low. We became from a low state. What was our original state? We was in rulership. Let me read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. To show you that. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are on the face of the earth. See, we're supposed to be above all people that are on the face of this earth. Set aside God's holy people. He said we were special unto him. But yet still, we sinned against God. And this is our punishment. Slavery, captivity. Ask the Moors. The Moors will tell you, they ruled England for over 1,000 years. We was in rulership at one point in time. It says, he shall lend to, verse 44, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, thou shalt be the tail. Okay. We don't own no bank systems. We have them all in our neighborhoods. We got to Chase Bank right over there. But we don't have anything. We have what we have here in Chicago. We got Bank of America. We got Chase Bank. We got Fifth Third. We don't own no bank systems. We don't own the check cashing places or the currency exchanges. We don't own none of them. But yet still, that's how it is. That's how it is with our people. Let me just read it from the top. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. It goes back to what it's saying, that we're going to actually be at the bottom and not at the top. Because where we at right now, we on the bottom society. Just look around. Verse 48. Therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies which the Lord shall send against thee and hunger. If we hungry, anything we want to eat, we got to go to another nation of people to get. Even if we own the restaurant, where do we get the food from? We don't own no purveyors. We don't own the distributors. We don't own no cornfields, rice fields. We don't own no cattle. We don't own anything. And it says it in thirst. If we thirsty, if you want something to drink, we got to go to other nations. We don't own no water system. Matter of fact, you can't even create your own water system. It's a law that states if you put something on the side of your house to catch some rainwater, which is actually free, you can actually get a ticket from that. Go try to pull some water out of Lake Michigan that's not too far from right here and see what happens. Then you will get a ticket for that. That's water is free. You can't even purify it your own self. It's real simple. All you got to do is boil it, distill it to make your own water, but they don't want you doing that. And it says it in nakedness. Yeah, you can say that we own some clothing stores, but where do we get the thread from? Where do we get the thread to make the clothes? Then this is the craziest thing. We have it in our law. We cannot wear mixed linen. So we cannot wear mixed linen. So therefore they give us, you know how hard it is to find 100% cotton shirts? You know how hard it is to find 100% cotton pants? That's what the nations do to our people. But they don't do that for the fake Jews on the north side. The fake Jews on the north side has got what is called a community. What we have is called a neighborhood. Because what a community is a group of people selling amongst themselves and they thriving. Go up north. I used to stay up there. Go over there on Devon Street. You will see how a community is being ran. You don't see police officers. Matter of fact, they got their own police officers. You don't see that. And they thriving. You can even Google this. The money that Asians circulate their money more than the Jews, the fake Jews over there. I think Asians circulate their money real faster. The Jews, and then it's next. We all the way at the bottom. We don't sell to each other. We don't. I'm talking about business-wise. We don't have nothing. And it says, in one of all things, anything that you want, anything that our people want, we got to go to other nations to get it. Even if you want to get a driver's license, a state ID, what else? Death certificate, marriage license. Anything that we want, we got to go to another nation to get. Because our people, we don't own anything. We don't own anything as a nation. We may own little small things here and there, but we don't own anything enough to bring in a lot of things for our people. That's what I'm talking about. We don't own the Walmarts. We don't own a Jewel Lasco. We don't own a Kroger, Save-A-Lot. What else? Food for Less. We don't own that. We don't own a bus system. We don't own a train system. We don't own car dealerships. Well, I'm talking about the people that make the cars, like Ford, Nissan. We don't own that stuff. We may own a car dealership, yes, but where we get the cars from? We may own, we don't own nothing. And the thing about it is, that's why we don't prosper, okay? Because we don't know how to come together as a people. We don't know how to come together and say, with ideas. For an example, Jay-Z, what he just do? He go into the NFL. But yet still, he could have created his own football league, all the money he had. But yet still, we had our own Negro League back in the day. We had our own ABA. We had what was called the Black Wall Street. They blew that up. It says, verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. They were still having our elders, the older women. They had them in the cotton fields. They beating them up. Our little young kids, they sold them as gator bait. They threw the little babies to hunt alligators. You could actually Google that. That's a nation who did that. The Jolly Good Hood Red man, the white man. Verse 54, I say this is one of our hardest ones that we go through. Because this one actually is what how our neighborhoods destroys. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Let me break this down. Let me read it from the top. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. We had that evil eye toward each other. I'm ready to, our brothers shoot each other down in the street over some little talk, over some little beat. Step on somebody's shoes. Stare at somebody too long on the bus and see what happened. Before you even could tell somebody what happened, you could tap them on your shoulder. Before you get out your mouth, you drop your, they drop their $5 in your book bag open. They ready to cuss you out. They could be sitting, you could be sitting, matter of fact, they don't even want you sitting next to them on the bus. They'll say, don't you see all these seats open? Why are you sitting next to me? It's hot. Get away from me. That's how we treat our own people. And it says it tore the wife of his bosom. That's why you got some of the men not staying at home. Got so many men jumping from woman to woman. Why is that? Why is it so? Why do in the videos and all over the through our community or whatever, a man got hoes or whatever? It's cool for a man to have 3 or 4 girls. It's cool for that. It's easy, like I tell people. They say pimping ain't easy. Yes, it is. You ain't got it. That's no commitment. It's no commitment. But a real commitment is taking care of a woman. That's actually real hard to do. What I mean by taking care of a woman, I mean taking care of the bills, taking care of everything, taking care of the family, which I'm going to get into right now. It says, toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead. You got some men that would have kids by a woman. They would break up. He would start dating somebody else, and he would take care of them, and then deny his own kids. That's what our people do. That's so hard about our people. That's what we do as a nation. That's the hardest thing on our people. We do that so bad.
Bingo. I got action.
And why is that? Because we destroyed as a nation. And why are we destroyed as a nation? Let me read it from the top. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead. So that's the problem where we get. That's the problem with our people. And it's the flip side of the coin. What's the flip side of the coin? The flip side of the coin is this. The tender, that is delicate woman that will not venture to set a sole of her foot on the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Let's just stop right there. It says a woman is so delicate, the sole of her foot would not touch the ground. So what this telling you is, we gotta, how can I say this? We gotta treat our women with more respect. Because it says the sole of her foot wouldn't touch the ground. It's just whatever, remember back in the day, that they used to have a puddle on the ground, the man to take off his coat and the woman would walk over him on the jacket or whatever? That's what we got. I'm not saying you gotta do that literally, but that's what we gotta get back to, taking care of our women. It's so often that I see, when I'm out here, I see women by themselves, walking with their children. And my thing is this, where's the men at? And we say the neighborhood is so dangerous, so why you got men out here without their women? Why you got they supposed to be the ones, the men supposed to be the ones helping the women take the kids to school. I understand they got jobs and all that stuff, but the man shouldn't be asleep while the woman going out there taking the kids to school. It's dangerous out here. But let's get back. It says, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom. That's why you have some of the sisters messing around. She's messing around with a dude because he have a better car, a better job. The craziest thing about our sisters, you have a woman who don't know how to keep a man, who never had a man, who don't know how to be in a relationship, trying to tell you about your relationship and how to keep a man. And toward her son and toward her daughter. You got to understand something. You got some young girls, all they want to do is club hop, go to clubs and all that stuff. And the thing about it is, when they go in the clubs, they leave the baby with the grandma. We got to stop that. She got to stop that. No, these are your children. You got to take care of them. Then there's some women who just gone. They out there in the street. But yet still, some of our men love that stuff. Some of our men love that Cardi B. Some of our men love that. Nicki Minaj. That's not cool. Verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of the law, will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. Okay, how do we get all this stuff in our system? It's basically food. Because that's where these plagues coming from. It's mainly coming from food. And when they coming from food, it's certain things in the Bible. We cannot eat crab, shrimp, or lobster. We're not supposed to be eating that stuff. And pork. We're not supposed to be eating none of that stuff. Let me just wait. Alright, we're not supposed... Alright, we're not supposed to be eating crab, shrimp, lobster, pork. We're not supposed to be eating that stuff. Because that's what the Bible says, the dietary law. Let me just break it down. If you ever... Shrimp, we're not supposed to eat no sailfish. Shrimp is look just like a roach. If you look at the picture, a shrimp looks just like a roach. A shrimp is a bottom feeder, just like pork. They like catfish, eat bottom stuff on the bottom. So you are what you eat. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with bread. Oh, crabs the same thing, just like shrimp. They bottom feeders. Anything that's a bottom feeder, all shellfish is basically bottom feeders. Yeah, all bottom feeders we're not supposed to eat. Crab, shrimp, lobster, all those are bottom feeders. They clean the ocean basically. That's their job. So whatever they're cleaning from the bottom of the ocean, we actually putting in our bodies. Same thing like with the pig. So if anybody know anything in the health field, we release toxins through our body. They put pads on the bottom of your feet. At the end of the when you wake up in the morning, they remove these pads off the bottom of your feet. The pads are actually black because you release the toxins out of your body. Now the same thing with a pig. The pig does not have sweat glands, so it's not going to really be able to release the toxins. So that's why they wallow in mud. So all them toxins is in a pig for life. You can do the research on this. Also, what happens when we get older? We go to the doctor. When we go to the doctor, what happens? When we go to the doctor started telling us, because we got high cholesterol. Now all of a sudden we got high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Now we gotta take care of ourselves a little bit better. Now we gotta cut all this stuff out of our diet. But we should have been doing that from the get-go. All that stuff relates back down to food. And the thing about it is, like I said, we don't go to the doctor enough. Then they give you nutritionists. Nutritionists will actually tell you. And that's one thing we got to deal with our people. We got to teach our people the simple dietary law. Verse 65. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither the sole of thy foot shall have rest. Among these nations we will not find no ease. We will not have this. We got to work 2 or 3 jobs. Why are we working 2 or 3 jobs? Just to make ends meet. That's what we got to do. That's what our people go through. That's how we struggle. And we got to understand that. That's what we go through. It says, and the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart and failing of the eyes and sorrow of the mind. That's why we so bugged out. That's why we go through so much stuff. That's what we go through. And the craziest thing is, that's acceptable to our people. We cool with that. We good. Verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. And thou shalt fear the day and night, and thou shalt have no insurance of thy life. We don't realize that we don't have insurance of our life. We could get shot down in the street as we walking down the street. We could be sitting on, I could be sitting right here. Drive by. Car accident. We don't have no insurance of our life. We know we're going to go in certain areas here where we live at in Chicago. Why don't you go over there? You already know why you don't go over there. They be tripping over there. We don't have no insurance of our life. Why you think we got most of the sisters have a sorrow of the mind? Call me as soon as you get there. But this is supposed to be our own people. Verse 68. Verse 68 is basically really tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, that we the Israelites. Because read you in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1, Moses was actually talking to the Israelites. That's who he was talking to. Just wait till that pass by. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. What do Egypt mean? What do Egypt mean? When you read the Bible after Exodus, let me show you a precept what Egypt means. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6. And the Lord thy God which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. So Egypt means the house of bondage, which is synonymous for slavery. So when we read this, now we know that Egypt means slavery. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. It says, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, which means slavery again. It says, slavery again. But I will spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, which means slave men and slave women. And it says that no man shall buy you. So what nation of people went into slavery? And when they got to another country, they were sold for slave men and slave women. It was only our people. So that tells you right there that we're the Israelites of the Bible. We're the only nation of people, once again, that went and got into slavery, taken from another people. When we got to another country, we were sold for slave men and slave women. And no man actually came to redeem us. So that lets you know that we the Israelites of the Bible. It's only us. And we don't realize that. But let's get into, let me just read this real quick. Psalms 83. Psalms 83 and 3. It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. We're the hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more remembered. So they came together with one consent, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Because right now we're not calling each other Israelites. We're calling each other black. We're calling each other African American. We're calling each other Hispanic. We're calling each other Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban. That's what we calling our people. But we actually the Israelites of the Bible. So they spending billions upon billions of dollars to keep us dumbed out. It's actually a book called The Roman Icons. Or the Russian Icons. I'm sorry, the Russian Icons. The Russian Icons shows you pictures of like paintings. I wish there was a painting on this wall. But it's pictures of actually the prophets being changed. For an example, look at the color of Christ. The color of Christ is actually, his color was changed. But that Russian icon shows you all the books that's over, all the paintings overseas. It shows you that men are covering them up, painting them, showing them, turning them their color. That's part of the crafty counsel. Verse 5, they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. That means they're against you. All these nations, they put us the ones down and out. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, what do we got to do? Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Because we can go into all these doctrines and all that stuff. It says, and further by these, my son, be abolished. And making of many books there is no end. And much study is weariness of the flesh. So we're going to have all these books out here showing you all these doctrines, teaching you this, that, and it's going to make you tired. You're going to get tired of reading. It's going to wear your butt out. Verse 13, it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. So let's figure this out. What's the end of it? What we got to do? It's going to tell you right here. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. That's all we got to do. Fear God and keep his commandments. His commandments are not hard. How do I know that? Because let me just read this, because we say we all love God. 1 John 5 and 3. It says it right here. 1 John chapter 5 verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. What do grievous mean? Meaning not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard to not eat shrimp, crab, lobster. Don't get me wrong, and pork. I used to love bacon. I ain't gonna lie. I used to love bacon. But it's a process. I'm not saying you gotta cold hard drop turkey and just stop it. I know. But the thing about it is, if it's a process, a long process for our people.
Straightforward. I know what it means. You say that's your woman. I'm not gay. I know what it means.